Please be advised, this podcast contains graphic audio and themes that may not be appropriate for all listeners.
It's been shocking to see some of the design errors that I have found in the building that I would think was crying out, jumping off the page, so to speak, that it should have been caught earlier. And then knowing that 98 people died and how they died is just mind-boggling that this was not prevented.
Dr. Abi Agayere is a professor of structural engineering at Drexel University in Philadelphia, and he's been working with the Miami Herald since the day Champlain Towers South went down almost a year ago. Dr. Agayere has said that he just can't understand how so many warning signs were missed. He says that this tragedy could have been and should have been avoided. How the building was designed, built, maintained, even how it was being repaired last year. He says it was all riddled with problems from start to the terrible finish. But what shocked Agayere the most was a set of photos the Miami Herald showed him. One from downstairs in the building's underground garage, and one from the pool deck above it. The first, from November 2020, shows a concrete support column drenched in water that is leaking from above. The second, from June 2021, just 15 days before the collapse, shows an alarming crack in a planter on the pool deck. Dr. Agayere thought the column alone was a huge red flag, but taken together, in his view, they constituted an immediate emergency. And when I spoke to him over Zoom recently, he told me the ground floor slab of concrete, which was the pool deck on top and the ceiling of the parking garage underneath, you'll remember, had been showing such obvious signs of distress in the months leading up to the disaster that it should have been shored up immediately using supports in the garage, and that emergency measures should have been on the table long before the deck crashed down and kicked off the chain reaction that ended with most of the tower coming down 7 minutes later.
I mean, you come to a building and you have cracks, you have leakage. I believe that this building should have been shored. The pool deck area should have been shored right from the very beginning, and maybe even evacuate the building, given what we know.
Wait, you're saying that given what we know about the state of the building, you think maybe it should have been evacuated?
Yeah, given everything that we know, I believe it's more than hindsight is 2020. I think there were symptoms that should have prompted some more. You can shore up the slab. I mean, yes, there will be no parking spaces, but shore up the structure at least before you investigate. And if you have to evacuate, a building, evacuate it, and then we don't have 98 people dying.
Dr. Agayere compared the building to a patient, complaining they're in pain, and says that as far as he can see, the building's doctors kept treating the symptoms, but did not probe deeper to find the underlying source of the pain. Bottom line, he says, they were just not listening to the building, not looking hard enough to find the source of their patients' problems.
Okay, we have cracks. Let's patch up the cracks, epoxy the cracks, and then we're done. Okay, what's causing the crack? Why is this structure cracking? There's a reason why it's cracking. I always use the human body as an analogy, right? I mean, somebody's having a headache and it's consistent. You're giving them Tylenol or whatever other medicine you're giving them, and it goes away, all right? But what's causing that symptom that we're seeing outwardly is still there. There were many instances where the building was actually crying out for help.
I'm Paul Beeben, and this is Collapse, Disaster in Surfside. In this episode, we're going to unpack a stunning new piece of exclusive reporting from the Miami Herald's investigative team. Even almost 1 year after the collapse, their work is ongoing, and they have uncovered previously unreported warning signs, those pictures and what they showed, what suddenly appeared in November 2020 and then again early last June, just days before the disaster. It was a symptom, as Dr. Agayere called it, a signal that this building was in imminent danger of catastrophic failure. Aguirre said it should have been shored up, but it wasn't. Nothing was done about it.